you had one day to visit Wrocław, then this is what I would do, and this is what we're going to do today. We're going to visit the old town, we're going to visit the cathedral island, we're going to visit Szczytnicki Park and the Japanese gardens, and then we're going to finish with the multimedia fountains and the town hall nearby. Let's go. This Wrocław vlog starts on the Polną Drogę, 20 kilometers from Wrocław, with a bike trip to the train station, because we're going to take a train ride into Wrocław Główny, where we'll start our journey around Wrocław from there. Love these Polne Drogi, built for comfort. I've always had a fascination with trains and train stations, and this is one of the most beautiful train stations you'll ever see. Before I move on to the main sites that I want to see, I can't go past this train station without dropping a couple of facts. First one being is that it was built in 1857, and in 1857 Wrocław was still a part of Germany, and Wrocław in fact had a different name, and that name was Breslau. Another hectic fact is that this train station here survived both world wars and saw massive refugee movement as a result of that, and military transportation. But the fact that this train station survived both world wars, considering the destruction that this city copped, is absolutely mind-boggling. This is literally right around the corner from Wrocław Główny. It's obviously an abandoned building that's been used to squat in and party in. It's the first thing you see when you step outside of the train station, the main train station. You'd be pretty disappointed, but I promise you right now, definitely not a reflection of the whole city, that's for sure. So let's carry on.
So the most typical things that Polish people are going to the church, and then they are going through the city, and the kids are putting the flowers and they pray. So it's like a small parade of Christians.
Are you Polish?
Yes, I am Polish.
Yeah, your accent sounds a little bit different, like from a different European country. No, not in a bad way. What are they sitting? Co oni ustawiają tutaj, ty wiesz?
Not aware, probably they will do some concerts, but no idea. I need to check also, because maybe it will be something interesting.
A ty jesteś ze Wrocław, czy gdzieś indziej?
No, I'm from north of Poland.
North?
North.
Gdańsk, koło brzegu.
Gdańsk and Szczecin, in the middle.
A Koszalin?
Koszalin, yes, Mielno, Koszalin.
Byłem Koszalin, no. Byłem Koszalin, koło brzegu, Gdynia, Gdańsk. Fajnie.
And where you come from?
Australia.
Australia?
Yes.
What are you doing here?
Moje rodzice są z Polski. No.
Great weather for visiting?
Bardzo fajne weather, ale cały czas jest do góry, na dół, do góry, na dół, do góry, na dół.
Tak, to podobno najzimniejsza wiosna od chyba 20 lat.
Słyszę to ciągle. Wiesz co jeszcze słyszę? Nawet to, że przyjechałem z Australii, ja przyniosłem tą pogodę. Każdy mówi mi, że to moja wina.
Twoja wina.
No. Jak się nazywasz?
Dorota.
Dorota? Robert.
Nice to meet you.
Bardzo
I need
fajnie.
to go to work.
No, miło mi, bardzo dziękuję. I'm now in Wrocław's Stare Miasto, in Wrocław's old town. And this is one of the oldest medieval cities in all of Europe. And it's one of the biggest medieval cities in all of Europe. You would have heard time and time again how beautiful this city is, but when you come here, you won't be underwhelmed. It won't be overhyped for you. I definitely recommend getting here and checking it out, because what a city. Like, it's a feeling. I try and transfer as much of the feeling of a place into these videos, as much for myself and the memory for me in the future, but for anyone that watches these videos as well. But it's hard to do that unless you come here. You got to come here. The feeling of this place is immense. You feel safe. The people are friendly. It's quiet, everything's well behaved, everything's well organised, public transport runs on time, it's unreal. But what a medieval city this is. If only the walls of Wrocław Stare Miasto could talk. This city has got over 1,000 years of history. It was first mentioned in the year 1000. It's seen empires rise and fall, it's seen invasions, and since the end of the Second World War, it's seen a massive rebuild, especially in the last 30 years. I was here 32 years ago as a 10-year-old, and Wrocław and Poland as a whole look completely different. Over 70% of Wrocław, I think some even say as much as 80% of Wrocław, was destroyed in the Second World War. So they've had to rebuild pretty much the whole city from scratch. What a job they've done. Which then brings me back to the point how Wrocław Główny, the main Wrocław train station, how it was untouched during 2 world wars. Wrocław has belonged to Austria, Bohemia, Germany, Prussia and Poland. So you could say that Wrocław has travelled to different places and countries without moving a single millimetre. So when you're in Wrocław and you hear the term Stare Miasto, that's the whole medieval neighbourhood part of Wrocław. But when you hear the term rynek, which you'll hear a lot, rynek in Polish is marketplace. So that's the central part of the Stare Miasto neighbourhood. Ostrów Tumski is the original part of Wrocław. It wasn't until the 13th century that the city expanded onto the west bank of the Oder River to form what is now Old Town, the Stare Miasto. Now, speaking of Ostrów Tumski, Cathedral Island in English, let's now head there. Destination number 2, Cathedral Island, Ostrów Tumski, the original part of Wrocław. So this section here is Ostrów Tumski, Cathedral Island, and it was originally an island. It was surrounded by water completely. It is not now surrounded by water completely, but it continues to keep that name for historical reasons. At the centre of Cathedral Island is the stunning Cathedral of St. John the Baptist, and that's this cathedral right here. So there isn't a great deal separating, in terms of space and distance, there isn't a great deal separating Stare Miasto, the rynek, and the Ostrów Tumski, which is the Cathedral Island. So they're all pretty much in the same spot. They all pretty much look the same as well. It's got these stones, these cobbled stone streets all around this area. So you can hit it all in one go on foot, ideally on foot. You're not really going to get to it by car. So this is it. You can cruise around here all day. Stacks of Polish food, cheap alcohol. The vibe is super good. I really love it. So that's the Stare Miasto, Old Town, the rynek, the marketplace, as well as Cathedral Island, which is Ostrów Tumski. That's done. Destination 1 and 2, pretty much all in the same spot. That's everything here that you've seen so far. Now it's off to Szczytnicki Park and the Japanese Gardens, destination number 3. I don't know how many bridges exactly, but it's well known that Wrocław as a city has a stack of bridges, and this is one of them. It's definitely not Holland in the way of like cycle paths, but you can see that Poland and Wrocław specifically is definitely making a concerted effort to make this place a lot more bike friendly. So you see a lot of bike paths, and you can safely and conveniently get yourself around Wrocław on a bike. I've had no issues in the last couple of hours getting myself around, traversing the streets of Wrocław on a 2-wheeler. Bridge number 2. If I love a good train station, I definitely love a good bridge. Getting close now, about 200 meters. We're at the center of Szczytnicki Park. This is it, this is Szczytnicki Park, this is the center of it. Let's go and do a little bit of exploring and see what we can find. Then we'll head over to the Japanese garden. Szczytnicki Park is definitely the spot to escape the hustle and bustle of the city, to escape the city buzz and just take a peaceful walk and recharge the batteries. This park here is the oldest park in Wrocław, and it's one of the oldest public parks in all of Poland. Originally this park was part of a noble estate before becoming city property. Imagine living here, imagine this entire park being a part of your noble property. Imagine having property that you can actually say is noble. I own some noble property. Noble property is what I live on and what I socialize on. Noble property is what I own. Noble property. Anyway, not noble property anymore, city property. So inside Szczytnicki Park is a Japanese garden surprise, which I am now inside. 30 PLN, 30 zloty, which turns out to be about $12 or $13 at the moment. This Japanese garden was originally built for the 1913 Centennial Exhibition. Wrocław has been through a lot. Poland's been through a lot. And this park here itself has had to have been rebuilt twice in its history since 1913. Once after the Second World War, and the second time after the 1997 floods. It's a fact, but it's also very, very clear, whether you're Japanese or not, or have any knowledge about Japanese gardenery, that this park was definitely designed by authentic Japanese garden designers. Travelling abroad is such a powerful self-development tool. Growing up, I had no aspirations to travel. I had such an immense fear of flying that I promised myself that I'm going to live my life in a way where I don't have to step on a plane. I don't have to travel, whether it be for work or anything else. I didn't want to be in a relationship with someone that wanted to travel, if that was near the top of their list or at the top of their list of something that they wanted to do. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be with someone like that. I didn't want a job that forced me to have to get on a plane, and I definitely didn't want to travel for the pleasure of it. But traveling abroad into different countries is definitely a huge self-development tool, and I recommend it to anyone and everyone. And if you have a fear of flying, and I meet a lot of people that do, there's a lot of people here in Poland that I've met, family and friends that have an immense fear of flying, and that there is already something that you have to overcome within to get on that plane and to fly into a different country. So that there already is self-development just to get on that plane and go abroad. But then once you enter a different airport, a different city, a different country, you're forced to engage with people that speak a different language to you. They have different customs. They have a different culture. They sometimes are rude to you and they don't really want to engage with you because you don't speak their language. These are all things that force you to dig deep each and every time you have a challenge, and the challenge might be as minute as somebody is rude to you on the street, to something might get stolen. I had my laptop stolen within a couple of days of landing here in Poland, which I didn't expect to happen, especially after traveling 5 weeks through Vietnam. And you got to dig deep. You either pack your bags and you turn around and you go home and you go, this is too hard, or you overcome the challenges. And if you have negative self-talk, which so many of us do, and I definitely have, throughout the years, throughout the decades, you have to change your self-talk, because if you're encountering external challenges that are pushing your buttons, and then you add your own negative self-talk on top of that, you're just not going to win. You're going to be depressed. So it's one thing to venture out and see different sights and take this beautiful footage and see this beautiful scenery in this amazing environment, but the other part is just how much it forces you to grow and evolve, which you wouldn't do if you forever remain in that comfort zone of getting up, going to work, coming back to the same home, driving the same roads to the same places, drinking coffee at the same place. When you go out with the family, you go to the same beach, you go to the same places. It's all familiar to you. You have those neural networks in your brain that are already formed and you're already familiar with it. But when you step into different cultures and different environments, you don't have any memory of that place. You've got no neural networks formed in the brain that give you a memory of that particular place. So you have to think on the fly. You have to learn how to use technology, apps, your phone. You have to learn how to be hungry sometimes, thirsty sometimes. You have to learn how to navigate a different city. You have to work out what you want to go and see. If you stay in Airbnbs, they give you different codes and there's different ways of entering each and every different Airbnb. You've got different systems, so you're constantly having to think. It sounds like minute things, but if you're in your comfort zone, you're not forced to think like that in different ways, well then you don't evolve. And that's the Japanese gardens. It's not a massive space, it's not a massive garden, but it's beautifully designed, it's very tranquil, and it's a really good place to step inside and look at a different culture within a different culture. If you're an outsider like me, an Aussie in Poland, well then the Polish culture is different. Then you step into a Japanese garden within a Polish park, it's pretty special. Right next door to the Japanese garden, literally. Check this out. So this behind me is the Multimedia Fountain. The Japanese gardens are just over there. That's the Centennial Hall just over there, and that's the Multimedia Fountain right there. It's connected to lights, it's connected to music, and from 9 a.m. till like 10 p.m. they run music shows and light shows. So when the lights go down, when the sun goes down, the lights come out, and it's all synced up to the fountains. And I haven't been here at night, but apparently it's an amazing spectacle. But here during the day, Wednesday at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's peaceful, it's quiet, it's calm, it's serene. What a spot to come and visit. That behind me is Centennial Hall, and for its time it was a groundbreaking modernist structure that was built in 1913. It's so immense in its stature that it is now a UNESCO listed World Heritage Site, and it's epic. So that's it, I'm back at Wrocław Główny, the main train station in Wrocław. Time to catch a train back to where I need to go. That's it.